The Afar Depression, one of the hottest, driest, and lowest places on Earth, is now the epicenter of a modern power struggle. Salt flats shimmer under a relentless sun, volcanoes burn in the night, and the Afar people, nomads for centuries, find their world militarized. Tanks and artillery now scar the land, disrupting ancient herding routes and salt trading. The border between Ethiopia and Eritrea slices through Afar territory, but the people have never recognized these lines. Now, soldiers arrive, politicians speak of historical rights, and the air is thick with anticipation and fear. Ethiopia, landlocked and restless, eyes the Eritrean port of Assab, a gateway to the sea and a symbol of national ambition. The Afar people, caught between two military giants, brace for a conflict that could ignite the entire region. They know the signs, troop movements, armed groups, and rhetoric that turns their home into a chessboard. In this vast desert, the Afar are the grass, and the elephants, Ethiopia and Eritrea, are preparing to fight. The world may not be watching, but the storm is coming. For the Afar, survival now means navigating a battlefield, not just a harsh landscape. To understand today's tension, look back at the tangled history of Ethiopia and Eritrea. Once united, Eritrea's long Red Sea coastline was annexed by Ethiopia, sparking a 30-year war for independence. In 1993, Eritrea finally broke free, but Ethiopia was left landlocked, a wound that never healed. Old comrades in arms, Isaias Afwerki and Meles Zenawi, quickly became rivals as disputes over borders and trade festered. In 1998, a border town dispute exploded into a brutal war, killing tens of thousands. The peace that followed was cold and fragile, with closed borders and armies on high alert for nearly 2 decades. A brief thaw came in 2018, when leaders embraced and reopened borders, but the alliance was short-lived. Eritrea's exclusion from the Pretoria peace agreement reignited old resentments. The rivalry deepened, alliances shifted, and the region slipped back toward confrontation. The past is never far away here. Every peace contains the seeds of the next conflict. Now history's unfinished business is driving both nations toward another dangerous crossroads. The ghosts of old wars haunt every decision. The future of the Horn of Africa hangs in the balance. Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous nation, is ambitious but landlocked. Since 1993, it has relied on Djibouti's port, paying $1 billion a year, an economic and strategic burden. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed now frames sea access as Ethiopia's historical right, focusing on the Eritrean port of Assab. Assab, just 70 kilometers from the border, once served as Ethiopia's main port. Its loss is a national wound, fueling a powerful narrative of reclaiming what was unjustly taken. Ethiopia's failed deal with Somaliland in 2024 only sharpened its focus on Eritrea. Troops and tanks now mass along the Afar border, signaling readiness for confrontation. Officially, Abiy denies plans for war, but military preparations tell another story. The message is clear. Ethiopia's thirst for the sea is now a matter of national destiny. The fate of the Horn of Africa is being shaped by this relentless drive. The stakes are higher than ever. The countdown to crisis has begun. Ethiopia's strategy is not open invasion, but proxy war. By arming anti-Eritrean groups in the Afar region, Addis Ababa applies pressure while denying direct aggression. Militant factions like Brigade and Hamadou operate openly from Ethiopia, targeting Eritrean interests and destabilizing the border. These proxies create chaos, sap Eritrea's resources, and provide a pretext for intervention if violence escalates. For the Afar, this means communities are torn apart, young men recruited into militias, and old grievances weaponized. Ethiopia's Afar Card is a cynical, low-cost tactic, pursuing strategic goals while hiding behind local conflict. The real victims are the Afar people, caught in a game they never chose. The border is now a powder keg, primed by proxy hands. Eritrea's response is disciplined silence and total mobilization. President Isaias Afwerki sees Ethiopia's ambitions as an existential threat. In February 2025, Eritrea called all citizens under 60 to military duty, transforming the nation into a fortress. Shopkeepers, teachers, and farmers don uniforms, ready to defend hard-won sovereignty. Diplomatically, Eritrea forges alliances with Somalia and Egypt, forming a bloc to counter Ethiopia. Quietly, Asmara supports Ethiopian opposition groups, keeping Addis Ababa off balance. Eritrea avoids direct provocation, focusing on deterrence rather than escalation. There's no evidence of tit-for-tat proxy war in Afar. Eritrea's strategy is defensive, not expansionist. The message is clear. Any attack will be met with fierce resistance. Eritrea's silence is a warning. Its sovereignty is not negotiable. The cost of war will be high for any who dare cross its borders. As the Horn of Africa teeters on the edge, the world's response is muted. Major powers issue statements but take no decisive action, no sanctions, no mediation, no urgency. Military buildups and expansionist rhetoric are visible to all, yet international diplomacy lags behind. The Pretoria peace agreement's failures, especially Eritrea's exclusion, have sown new seeds of conflict. With both sides arming proxies, the region is a tinderbox, but global attention is elsewhere. The silence from Washington, Brussels, and Addis Ababa's neighbors is deafening. Without consequences for escalation, the logic of force prevails. The world's apathy risks enabling a devastating war. The cost of looking away will be paid in lives and regional stability. The Afar conflict is just one front in a sprawling web of proxy wars. Ethiopia and Eritrea now back rival factions across the region, from Afar to Tigray. In Tigray, the TPLF has split, one side backed by Addis Ababa, the other by Asmara. Mekelle, the regional capital, has changed hands again, turning Tigray into a proxy battleground. This strategy lets both states fight without direct confrontation, inflicting damage while avoiding all-out war. For Ethiopia, Afar militias pressure Eritrea's coast. For Eritrea, TPLF factions bog down Ethiopian forces. The result, endless cycles of violence, with civilians caught in the crossfire. Local fighters believe they're fighting for their own causes, but they're pawns in a larger game. The conflicts are interconnected. Peace in one area means little if war rages elsewhere. The region's fate is tangled in this deadly chess match. The Afar border is more than a line in the sand. It's the front line of a struggle for the Horn of Africa's future. The Afar people, with ancient traditions, are now pawns in a battle for control of the Red Sea's vital trade routes. For Ethiopia, sea access is the key to regional power. For Eritrea, defending Assab is defending its very existence. The port is a symbol of independence and survival. With no neutral mediator, military logic prevails, and the human cost mounts. Communities are divided, lives disrupted, and a new generation is prepared for war. The world's silence is a quiet endorsement of this dangerous path. The Afar Card is a warning. Local issues can be hijacked by national ambitions, turning cold wars hot. The fate of the Afar is now tied to the fate of the entire region. In the end, power, ports, and control, not ancient customs, will decide the future.